and welcome to Saturday Fun Day with Connie. My guest star is the one, the only, the joyful Cynthia with Cynthia's Joyful Creations. How are you doing today, Cynthia?
I am doing great. Thank
Awesome,
you.
awesome. And we also have Alley Cat, and she's being a baby today. Let's see. We have Samantha and Jen here. How are y'all doing? And what are y'all currently working on? Samantha says she's working on cottage core, mosaic blanket, and granny squares blanket, and single crochet blanket. Lots of blankies. And we also have Pam here.
Hey, Miss Pam.
How are you today? And what are you working on? Well, she probably won't answer until she gets home. She says she's driving right now, but she'll be listening. And we also have Michelle here too. How are you today? And Michelle's working on a poncho. So what are you working on right now, Cynthia?
So I am currently working on something that has been a hush-hush project for a long time because I wouldn't show it until I could start the tutorial. And I started the tutorial yesterday, and I'm up at the point now where I can just keep working the repeat rows to finish it. But it's a blanket, it's a baby blanket, Connie, and it's one that I have actually designed, and I'm calling it the Lullaby Dreams Baby Blanket.
Aww.
And this is all I have done on this one so far, but here is the protege.
Ooh.
I did it with scrap yarn. So all of this is scrap yarn that was left over from projects. And this is what the front looks like.
Ooh, pretty.
So that kind of shows you the stitches. It's a 2-row repeat, all double crochets. And then the back almost has like a waffle stitch look to it.
Ooh, cool.
So I guess it could be reversible depending on what you want. But anyway, but again, this was all scrap yarn. So, and I apologize because I wasn't planning to show anything right now, but
It's all good.
so I'm working on a baby blanket.
It's gorgeous. Let's see. We also have Anita that joined us. Hi, Anita. How are you? And what are you working on? And is little Biscuit still inside? Her little baby goat. He is so precious. If y'all haven't seen Anita's baby goat, it's such a cutie pie. Let's see. Pam says I had to had to come get some more 64-cent yarn. Well, where are you getting 64-cent yarn at?
So Connie, Pam was telling us about that the other night on her live. Well, she started at the end of mine, but then it's Walmart. It's Walmart selling it online, and it's like the Red Heart Christmas yarn, the mistletoe.
Ah,
I haven't
yeah,
heard if anyone has gotten something other than that colorway.
yeah. I know Walmart does that sometimes, where they have that like one color yarn that's under $1.
Right. I did not know that.
Yeah, they did it a while back with I think the camouflage red heart yarn. Let's see. We also have Alice and Polly here. How are y'all doing? And what are y'all working on? Um,
Hello, everyone.
Polly says cat dogs right away, please. And for those I don't know, this is my little cat Allie. I think she's getting clingy. She has clingy moods. Oh,
Don't we all?
she was purring. Let's see. Anita says, I'm cold. She took little Biscuit back to his mama. Aw. I'm telling y'all, that goat is too precious. She has some shorts on her channel of the baby goat.
Okay.
And let's see.
Kalina.
Hi, Kaylina. How are you today? And what are you working on? Oh, thank you, Samantha. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share with y'all some pictures that Cynthia sent to me of some of her recent finished projects. So let me get those pulled up. Give me just a minute. Oops.
While you're doing that, do you mind if I tell them about them?
That's fine.
Okay.
I almost have it. There it is.
All right. So my son, my middle son, I have made hoodie sweatshirts for all three of my boys and then one of my boys' girlfriends. And then my Marine son, he asked me to make one for his girlfriend. And so hers is the one I just finished, and that's what you're seeing right now. That's the back of it. And on his specifically, theirs was just done with colors. There was nothing, pattern wise about it. It was just, it turned out the way it turned out. But on his, he wanted his to look kind of Southwestern or have kind of like that Aztec-y type feel. And so with hers, he wanted hers to have kind of that same feel. So this is hers, and this is the back of it.
This one's beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that Aztec look to it. It didn't want to come out.
I think when I do mine and Todd's, I'm going to have to, I'm not have to, I want to do something on that nature too for ours.
All right. And let me get the second picture of it up. The front port. Okay, there it is.
And so this is the front of it. And I don't know if you can tell, but the yellow part is actually pockets. Just so it's just like a sweatshirt would be.
Sweet. keep those hands toasty.
And so they're going to be sending me pictures. I forgot when they were here together to get pictures of them standing beside each other with them both on. So they're going to be taking pictures this weekend, as a matter of fact, to send me. And then I'll get a video out. But I have a picture of her wearing it, and it fits her perfectly. And even on the back, the way that the design is, it just fits right for her, body shape. The only thing on hers was her sleeves were a little bit too long, but she said she absolutely loved it that way because she likes her sleeves long. So I was just like, whew.
That's gorgeous.
Thank you. And you'd be amazed at how fast those work up. Like, I've done ponchos before. So kudos. Who was it? Michelle that was working on a poncho. Ponchos are something, but those hoodies work up rather fast.
Let's see. There it is.
So this is my son's, and this is the back of his.
That one's nice. I was gonna say pretty, but it's boyish. So
I know. we just say it looks sharp.
It looks handsomely. All right, let's get to the other picture. Hi, Angela. How are you doing today?
Angela.
And what are you working on? All right. I always find pictures take forever to come up. There's the other view.
Oh, is that what I sent you?
Yeah, it's actually it looks the same, I think.
Yeah. Did I send two of the? I thought
maybe I pulled up the wrong.
Oh, Connie, it's possible I sent you.
I may have pulled up the wrong picture. Let's see. I think this is it here.
No. There it is. And that's the front. And you can see the pockets a little bit better on that one.
For some reason, it kept wanting to pull up the first picture again. But yeah, that's nice.
Of course, on both of them, the embroidery work took a lot longer than the actual construction of the actual hoodie.
Sometimes that's the case.
But it was well worth it, especially on hers. Well, I mean, I like his too, but hers, I don't know. I guess it might be a lot with the colorway and stuff, but anyway. So, yeah. Thank you, Samantha.
Because I know like with cross stitching, a lot of times like you finish all the actual stitches and you're like, "Oh, I'm almost done," but then you have the back stitching to do.
Right.
And that
Right.
takes quite a while. Let's see. We have Diane that joined us. Hi Diane. How are you doing today? And what are you currently working on? And anybody with a channel, if you want your channel link dropped, type the word drop in the chat and Nightbot will automatically drop your channel link. Let's see. Everyone's saying your hoodies are beautiful.
Thank you.
And let's see. Angela says she's drinking water working on her first scrappy blanket. So did you finish your socks, Angela? Oh, Lisa Loohoo with Coping with Yarn is here.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. How are you today? And what are you working on? Let's see. Okay, everyone's just saying hello. So, do you have any plans for the weekend, Cynthia?
Well, so Jean from Wilma, aka Stitch by Jean, is actually here spending the weekend with me. And of course, we met on YouTube. And so that's exciting. So we're just kind of hanging out, crocheting. Well, she's knitting, actually, Connie. She's like me. She's learning to knit.
Awesome.
She's way better at it than I am. But she's knitting and I'm crocheting, and we're just going to watch movies. Actually, when we finish here, we're going to go get some Mexican food. So that's exciting.
Ooh, Mexican.
And then I think she's...
salads.
What's that?
Taco salads.
Oh, yeah. I think she's running to Walmart while we are doing our live. And then I told them that sometime after we eat, I want to stop somewhere because my parents' wedding anniversary is this coming Thursday. And so I want to get even though I'm going to spend the weekend with them next weekend, I want to get a card out in the mail because it's always great getting a card in the mail.
Happy anniversary to them.
Thank you.
Allie's moving around here. See, I'm working on Bag O' Day shawl. And the funny thing is, like, I knew it was a 2-row repeat and the last row was different. But I thought the last row was like after the 2-row repeat. But you actually substituted for the last, the second row. It's a little different.
Oh.
And I have about 3/4 of the second row of the repeat done. And then I realized I'm going to have to frog that row.
Oh.
Because I don't think I have enough yarn to do 2 more rows afterwards. So I'm better off, wrapping it up on this row just to make sure. I really don't think I have enough yarn for 2 rows afterwards. And I was kind of sweating if I had enough for 1 row after. But yeah, so that should be finished later today. And then I'll start another bod shawl.
Nice. I love Crystal's work. She's really good at what she does.
I know. She makes such gorgeous patterns. I love, love, love her shawl patterns.
Have you done her Pure Innocent shawl yet?
The which one?
The Pure Innocence?
No.
That's the only one I've done of hers, but there's quite a few in the queue to do. In the fall. I'm lined up till the summer, so in the fall I'm going to make some more of hers.
I have at least 3 of them that I'll probably be doing next back to back.
Right.
And I'm sure I'll get to some of the other ones later on, but that's what I plan to be working on for at least a while. Let's see. We have Zola that joined us, and
Hello.
also Pamela. How are y'all today? And what are y'all working on? Let's see. Diane says, working on my usual another shawl. Yeah, my go-to. I do shawls a lot. Usually it's shawls, beanies, and amigurumis. Those are typically my main go-tos. Um, let's see. Lisa says, working on my first pattern I'm making up, so we will see if it works out. It's a cable piece. Ooh, sweet.
Nice.
Can't wait to see it, Lisa. Pamela says, I cannot knit to save my life. I'm sure you can do it because I hear people say that, and then next thing you know, they get it down.
I feel like if I can do it, Connie, anyone can, because I am like the worst at it.
No, you're not.
I did bring to show the knitted beanie that I made of yours.
Awesome. But the funny thing is, it's like with knitting, you just got to keep at it. That came out so good.
But do you know how? So let me encourage our friend. Do you know how many times I frogged this before I got it? Did you ever hear the final count, Connie?
I didn't, but I know it took you a while and Tiffany a while to get it down.
I never frogged. I'm not a quitter, but I never frogged something as many times as I frogged this. I was determined to make you proud. 18 times I frogged this. But now I've learned a lot in doing that, though. So that's the plus of it. Mm-hmm. So frogging is not a bad thing.
And that's the thing. That's an example. If you keep at it, and Cynthia got it done.
Yeah. And now I really cannot wait to make my next one.
Awesome.
Because I do like the beanies better knitted than I do crocheted. So just saying. So thank you, Connie.
You're welcome. But yeah, and with knitting, it takes a while to get the feel of it.
It was also my first time on circular needles. The only other thing I've ever done was dishcloths with the long straight needles. Mm-hmm. I'd never used circular. So it was not just about kind of learning to really knit, but also how to work and manipulate the circular needles. So that's why I had to frog so many times. But now I'm very comfortable in holding those circular needles and the stitches, the purling, the knitting, whatever. But yeah. And the color changing. You are an amazing teacher, Connie.
Oh, thank you. But like whenever it came to knitting, I had my struggles with it. When I first started knitting beanies, I messed up a lot. Like I was bad for twisting the first couple of rows.
I did that too.
That's where I was trying to stress so much. Make sure the stitches point inside. And, and even times that I thought like I had everything right, next thing you know, I noticed it's twisted. And you're gonna get drop stitches initially too. If you look at some of my first projects, you'll see my boo-boos if you look close enough. You with knitting, you just got to keep at it. And the purl stitch is more awkward. At least
they say that knitting is not as forgiving as crocheting.
It's not.
But if you look at it on the positive side, I think knitting is more rewarding than crocheting. But that's, coming from someone who has crocheted for 18 years. So,
see, like me, like most people typically seem like they learn crochet first. I was backwards. I had an easier time learning knitting.
I actually started knitting first. My aunt made knitted dishcloths, and I asked her to make me some, and she said, instead, let me teach you. But that's all I learned to do, and I learned to knit and purl, but it was a lot easier on the straight needles, So
See, like that was the thing with crochet. I didn't find that the end of the row and the start of the next row was straightforward because it was like, you had to chain, skip stitches. And with knitting, it was basically you got to that last stitch, you just turn it, start over.
Right.
So I felt like it was more straightforward. Let's see. Pamela says she made a heart jewelry box. Awesome.
Nice.
Oh, Lisa, you still haven't gotten your phone? It's taking a while. Let's see. Zola says her internet is acting up. Aw. Yeah, I don't like internet problems. uh, let's see. Zola found the emojis. and Lisa says, I don't feel so bad now. I think I have done about the same thing with knitting the beanie. And that's the thing, you probably will struggle with it, and but you just got to keep at it.
Right.
And I find once you get like finished with the brim, well, the first row is the hardest, and then the second one, it's a little better, but it's still kind of awkward. And with the brim, you're alternating between knits and purls. Then once you get into the body, it's all knit stitches.
Right.
Which is, the easy part. And then the decreases might be awkward, It's still basically the same thing. You're working the stitches the same way, but like at least in the part that I have done so far, I showed it on the double pointed needles. So you got all these needles poking everywhere. And I still need to do show how to do it with the magic loop method, where you just use one long needle.
Right.
I know I'm behind with that. I am not quick with tutorials. I'm really not. I'm always like, oh, I'm going to get this done. And it takes me like a month later to get it done.
But you're a good teacher, though.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. Kaylina says, I'm the same way. I love knitted hats more than crocheted. I find knitting kind of has a cleaner look. Now, with crochet, there's a level where you can do more with crochet though, because you have all the different stitches and where knit. I mean, you do have some options, but a lot of times, a lot of knitted hats is basically knit stitches. Let's see. Thank you, Lisa. Samantha says she can't wait for you to start your cottage core mosaic blankets.
I know, me too, Samantha. Me too.
And even Zola says, I'm so proud of myself. While I was stranded in Buffalo, New York, I finally got knitting. You see, and here she is saying, that I was right. It's all about practicing. Thanks for the encouragement and support. If you want to learn it, just keep at it. You're going to get it. It may take a while, but you will eventually get there.
That's right. Practice makes perfect, right?
Exactly. Zola says she learned crocheting first too. Let's see. Zola says, I'm working on my first knitted scarf using circular needles. And that's one thing. Pretty much anything you do on like regular straight needles, you can use circulars too. The only difference is you just have the what you call it, that middle piece, the cord. I could not think what you called it, in between the needles, but it works the same way. You just when you knit in the round, you're connecting your piece together, but you can still flatten it with circular needles.
Very true. Didn't think about that. Thank you.
Because really, I basically always use my circulars. The only time I don't is when I do the decreases on my beanies.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, anyone that wants their channel link dropped, just type the word drop and Nightbot will drop your link. Let's see, we have Roseanne here. Hi, Roseanne.
Hey, Roseanne.
How are you doing right now? Okay, Roseanne says she finishing up a boy's vest.
Nice.
Very, very nice. So today's topic, we're going to talk about selling tips for selling your crochet work. And I believe it's just been farmers markets that you've sold yours at, Cynthia.
For the most part, I sell farmers market. My friend has a bake shop, and I get to put stuff in there as well. So I actually sell from a storefront too.
Now, like your farmers market, it's just like one farmers market you sell at,
Right.
and
Well,
is it like a big one or?
no, it's kind of small. There might be about 20 vendors there altogether. So now there's another one that's the one we do in Newberry, and the one we do in Whitmire, it has probably maybe half that amount of vendors. So it's not as big, but
Yeah, ours usually has like less than 5 vendors.
but
Our
oddly,
farmers
I'm the only
market-
crocheter out there.
I have seen one person that sold crochet at it. Um, but now I think now our farmers market may actually get more people because they've done more with it lately. But
Right.
like I know it used to be sometimes you only saw like one person or two people selling stuff. Ours is not big at all. Let's see. Pam says, fun fact, GPS decided to take me the scenic route home. Yeah, I know whenever I lived in Homa and I used to go to Lafayette, for some reason on the way back, I always missed my exit. And
Oh,
if I,
wow.
because if you paid attention to like the signs, it would take you the long scenic route back home. And it was just like I would do it every time. And a lot of times I started stopping at a gas station and be like, okay, how do I get how do I get back to the shorter way home? Let's see. Yeah, Pam's gonna see a lot of scenery. Okay, Allie. She's digging her claws into me.
Oh,
So let's see. So what advice do you have when it comes to setting up at the farmers market?
the biggest thing is first, know what you're going to take. And especially the first time, make a list. And then I even recommend, if it's your first time ever doing it, is to kind of draw a table and figure out what you want and where you want to place it. And then think about other things that you may need, pen, paper, if you have business cards or anything like that. But also take into account how you're going to set up and what you're going to sell. You want to keep some of your like smaller items to one side, your bigger items to the other side. But you want dimension too. You want to be able to draw them in. If everything's flat, yes, they have to come in to look at the table because it's flat, but you want something that might be able to stand up that catches their attention from across the room, that brings you in. Because you've done it, I've done it. You're driving by a garage sale and you're like, oh yeah, it don't look that great, but there could have been a treasure there and you just didn't see it because everything is just like all together. But anyway, So the biggest thing is figuring out what you want to sell, and less is always more, because if you have so much going on, it creates confusion. But if you have things and they can clearly see them, then again, it's more inviting. So for me, I usually have 2 tables and I have them set kind of like an L, and I have all my small things like if I have like a bath poof on them, my dishcloths and stuff like that, pot holders, that kind of things on that one table. And then over here, I have more like shawls and maybe baby blankets and loveys and stuff like that. I do have 2 drying rack stands. They are the type that have a pole down the center, and then they've got arms off the top and the bottom. And that's what I actually hang my dish towels on, so that they can see them and they can actually touch them, and see that they're like the removable towel toppers. And then I have on the second rack is the little dress shirts that I've been making, where I just take a t-shirt and I take that sachet yarn. Y'all remember that sachet yarn that you make the scarves out of? I do it around the bottom of those dresses so it frills them out, almost like tulle wood, but not as puffy as tulle. And so I have those hanging on that rack. And I may have like 1 or 2 blankets or a shawl, because we use a canopy, and I'll have those hanging off the back of the canopy. So I've got that drawing tension from way out, and then those stands drawing attention from way out.
So let's see. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
So what tips do you have for people finding you? Are you easy to spot where you're at in the farmers market, or?
Well, we're in a square, so the square in itself is not very big. So we're all kind of like literally in this square that, I don't know, maybe like 100 by 100 feet. It's not a very big square. So but we're not like necessarily on top of one another. But there's not really anything that just like points me out, like, oh, there's the crochet spot, there's Cynthia. But the nice thing about it is, if you are coming back every weekend, then they let you stay in the same spot. So that's a nice thing too, so that people who've been, they know right where to find you. And then if I am telling somebody, oh, come see me at farmers market, I'll have all this out, I can always say, I'm going to be on the right end corner from the opera house, because there's an opera house right across from where my table's at. And that helps people find me quickly too. But as far as like something significant, no. I do have a vinyl banner that I got from Vistaprint that has, Joyful Creations on it. And I mean, it's not very big, but it sits off my canopy too. And then I usually have a sign like this. And as you can see, here's one of the signs. But it also has my Cash App and my PayPal information, and then of course the scan code if they want. But the nice thing is in this little pocket, I've got my business cards too. So if they don't see anything they like, or they're in a hurry, they can always grab my business card and call me later or email me. So those are some nice little things too to have out.
Yeah. Yeah, I do find business cards is a good thing to have.
But another thing too is to make sure you have some cash. And I meant to bring my little money bag. I have a money pouch back when I sold Mary Kay, and it's got Cadillac on the front. But anyway, because Mary Kay, you always try for that Cadillac. But anyway, always make sure you have plenty of small bills, like 1s, 5s, 10s, and then a couple 20s. That way, because people always come with big bills. It just never fails. Very seldom do you get somebody that's going to pay exactly what you need. And they always come with big bills. And I've had people even try to hand me $50 and $100 bills and have to try and cash that. So it's always great to have a lot of 1s, 5s, and 10s. And you don't want a whole lot of cash out there, because, it is, but I try to make sure that I have at least $100. And majority of that is the smaller bills. especially ones. So.
And another thing, to protect your money.
Right, right.
Don't just
So,
leave it where other people could sneak up and get into your money box or money pouch.
right. I do have a metal cash tin that we actually put it in, and it can be locked. So we have to actually unlock it and pull that money bag out to even be able to exchange cash. But
Let's see what everyone's saying. Let me get back to.
Samantha asked a good question too.
Yeah, that's actually one of the questions I have on my list. How much should you charge for your crochet projects?
So most of the time, my rule of thumb is I do mine based on what the yarn costs me, and then I multiply it by 3. So let's just say if the yarn that went into the project cost me $5, then I would charge 15. But on occasions, for example, like that hoodie that I made for Jonathan and Amanda, I might use the same amount of yarn, even with the embroidery, that I did in making another hoodie, but that one has a lot more detail and a lot more work into it. So I might increase that one. So like if I was charging, say, I'm just randomly saying a price, but let's just say I was charging $50 for just a typical made up hoodie without all that detail and design. I would probably charge 75 or 80 for that one because there's a lot of work in it.
Mm-hmm.
But and that's how I kind of do it. But most of the time I just multiply it by 3, and that's what I charge. I tend to undercharge, and my friend that owns the bake shop that I sell things in, she's like, I sold some of your stuff today, and I'm like, great. And she'll hand me money, and I'll be like, oh, you gave me too much. She says, no, I didn't, because I told them what you should be asking and not what you are asking. And I'm like, and they paid it? She says, of course they paid it. So I do probably tend to undersell my stuff, but anyway.
But yeah, I've tended to hear, 3 times the cost of the yarn. I've heard that a lot. But yeah, some people can get a lot, you know.
Right.
And then unfortunately you got those that don't even want to pay 3 times the price of the yarn.
And most of the time at the farmer's market, I've been the only crochet person out there, but there was one weekend that there was another vendor that had some crochet items, and we had the same type of things, but her prices were like really high. And so people were coming over to my table and they were like surprised. So like, for example, my towels with the crochet towel toppers, I sell those for $8. Most of my towels I get anywhere from $1 to $3. So that's that. Then the yarn that I put into it is maybe about $2 worth. So that's 5. And then you tack on a button, 25 cents. So $5.25 maybe is what I have in it. So then technically, yes, then I should be selling it for like $15.75. But I've been selling mine for $8, and they're flying. So you got to also think of it from that perspective. Sometimes less is more, because I would much rather sell 3 for $24 than have only sold 1 for 15 or 16.
Exactly.
So you got to look at that. And usually those towel toppers, I can do those and sew the button on in about 30 minutes, 45 at the most, So it's not like it's a time consuming type project. So.
And one thing too, a lot of times, if you can make a bunch of small things, I find,
Right.
It's easier to have stuff that is more affordable for people, and more likely you'll probably sell more.
And I'll tell you something else too. Also, having less displayed, I have learned the hard way, is better than having everything out there. Because when I first started, I thought, oh no, I'm proud of everything I've made. I want everything out there, because you never know what someone might like. But then I noticed that sometimes people were not stopping. And it just so happened that one day I had just a few things out and something came up and I had to run back home for something. And my friend who was with me, she watched the table. When I came back, she had sold a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, what? And I guess, and so I started just kind of following that philosophy and not having as much out there. It does sell faster. But if somebody's like looking at your towels per se, or your dishcloths, and they spend a few minutes, but then they go to walk away, I have learned to say, well, was there something specific you might have been looking for? And for example, if they were looking for a towel that was a certain color or had maybe flowers on it or whatever, I can say, oh, well, I've got more under the table. Maybe we could look at those. Then you can kind of bring your little bin out and show them. And that way, you just don't have everything out there. So, and then of course, as they buy things, you can put more things out. And that's the great thing week to week for me, or even if you do it once a month, is the next time they come by, you might have something different. Whereas if you had everything out there, it's the same stuff that didn't sell. And if they keep seeing it over and over, they might think, oh, well, nobody else likes that because it's still there. So less is more on everything.
And let's see. Kaylina says this is the perfect topic because I am getting ready for my first market. Oh, awesome. And good luck with that. Also, previously I've had Pam talk on this subject with me, and also Joni. So I do have a couple of other lives where we've discussed this type of topic, and I have those in a playlist. So you might want to check out those lives too to get some other people's point of view. I need to add this one to that playlist too. I forgot to do that, but I will be adding this one. Let's see. Roseanne's putting the trim edge around the neckline and armholes.
Oh.
Let's see. Oh, one thing too. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask Cynthia. Because y'all might have a question that we're not going to get, not going to get into or didn't think about talking about. All right, let's see. Oh, Pam knows where she's at now. She was blindly following GPS out for a Sunday drive on a Saturday afternoon.
Hey, Granny D.
Oh, hi, Granny D. How are you today? And what are you working on?
So another suggestion, Connie, that I have too, that I have just learned from trial and error, because, I always thought, oh, it's great. I've got everything displayed. It's going to talk for itself. So I'm just going to sit back here and crochet more stuff. That's great if you've got somebody else that's helping you. Like if Mr. Joyful, if Todd's there with me and he's helping, then he can kind of be my spokesperson and they get to see me in action. But if I'm there by myself, if you truly want to sell your stuff, you got to be front and center. You have to be standing up and you have to greet the person, hello. And if they start looking at something, be proud of what you've done. Like I would just think, the towels are there. They're going to pick them up and look at them. And this was even before I had them on those towel racks or those drying rack things, which are nice, by the way, because when the arms are extended, they have these little nooks in there that are perfect for hanging hangers on. But, and I just use all the little plastic hangers that I've bought over the years for my kids and my grandkids that have the little, snap things on them, that you open and close. Those are great from holding those towels up. But my husband, one day, he just was like, well, those are removable. Those are not the ones that are crocheted on. They're actually removable. So you can wash them and you can put other towels in it. And when he started doing that, they really started selling. Those women were like, what? I've even had men go crazy over them. And so sometimes you just have to talk about your work too. But that engagement makes them feel like you care about them walking by,
Yeah, engagement is good. And I know it was either Pam or Joni had mentioned this, like especially if you're selling at like a craft vendor, making relations with the people that are also selling there can help,
That's
or
right.
like the staff. So connections are really, really important.
I agree. In fact, so my friend, she sells soap and plants and baked goods and whatnot, and we got together. And so where my table ends, I have my little bath poof balls that you can that are crocheted so you can wash them. Well, we decided she had been putting her baked goods there because my towels and the dishcloths. But then when we switched our table setups, her soaps are near my bath poofs. So when people are buying soap, they're buying the bath poofs, or if they're buying the bath poofs, they're buying the soap. And so we're also able to help each other. So making that connection too. Um, Even if they're not right beside you, you can say, oh, well, if you get this, it'll go great with so and so over there who makes soaps, or who, is selling something else. But,
And also like the presentation.
yes.
Presentation can be a huge thing, because like you said, having the soaps by your bath poofs, it can help promote something being sold more.
But the biggest thing is the dimensional thing. I've taken these little plastic boxes and I have put them up under another, I have a tablecloth across my table that has my actual logo of my YouTube channel on it. And then I've taken these plastic boxes, and you can take shoe boxes or whatever, but put them up underneath it and kind of create a height, and then put another table, a small tablecloth over it, or a towel, like a pretty tea towel or something like that. So it gives it height, but it's covering it. And then you can put stuff up so it's not all just flat. It's, eye level and a little bit higher. But the other big thing too is walk around to your other vendors. Try to buy something from some of them as well. And that helps too, because then they will help promote you as well.
Let's see, we have some new people that has joined us. We have Wicked Granny, and then Granny D, Lorele. Let's see, Nisi,
Nisi.
Joy.
Hey, Joy.
But I'm not sure Joy's still here. She's getting ready to go to the store, so she may have left already. Let's see, anyone else?
I'm writing down new names I haven't seen so I can go subscribe to their channels afterwards.
I'm trying to see if I missed anybody. But how is everyone doing? And what are y'all working on? Okay, yeah, that should be everybody. If not, welcome, welcome. uh, Zola has a question about your hoodie, Cynthia. She wants to know.
Okay.
She wants to know. How do you know what size to put the hood? Is there a size guideline?
For the what?
The the hood on your hoodie.
Um, I just kind of, I'm trying to see if I can remember how many rows I did. I think what I did was I made it high enough, because most of the ones I've done have been all adults. I just did it high enough that when it was standing straight, because when I do the hoodie, I do it back and forth from the back collar, and it just comes straight up. So it's almost like a square. And then when I put it together, I stitch it from the back to the front. But I just made it tall enough that it literally like was the same length as my head. And I don't have that pattern right here. I should have thought about that since I was showing it.
Yeah, you can probably measure someone's head too. Like if you're making it for someone else, to get an
Exactly.
idea of about how big.
If you go to my about page on my community tab and grab my email and send me an email, I will be more than happy to share the pattern with you.
Let's see, Anita saying I guess she's referring to the cost of selling makes. She says, but you couldn't do that with something you used yarn on sale with, could you?
Yes,
Um,
you could.
I would basically go by more their original price.
Right.
Because she's saying, because then if someone asks for another one and you have to pay more for the yarn, they wouldn't buy it.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I would go more with the regular price of the yarn.
Because I made that mistake too. I charged based off of the sale price, and then when they showed it to somebody and they wanted one, they couldn't understand why it was more. And when I tried to say because the yarn was more, they didn't understand it, and it kind of sets a bad taste. So, yeah.
Or another thing too, with how prices rise, where that may have been the original price of the yarn when you
True.
made the first one, and then the yarn went up in price,
Right.
you know,
Because
and
I'll
then the
share
person
another
might not
example.
like that.
Connie,
Sorry.
on my towels, if I am buying just like regular towels from Dollar Store, Walmart, Family Dollar, something like that, Ollie, something like that, again, you're paying anywhere from, $1 to $3 for your towel. But if I get Pioneer Women towels, those are like $7.99.
Or
So when I sell a Pioneer Woman towel with a towel topper, I'm selling those for a little bit higher. I'm selling those for like $12. And I'll tell them that's a Pioneer Women collection. And if anyone knows Pioneer Women, I don't have to explain that the towels are more than regular towels. They know. So
yeah, those are some pretty towels.
they are pretty towels.
Let's see. Granny D says she's doing well, drinking coffee at present. Just came in the house from errands and it's chilly and breezy out. Yeah, it was cold here today. This morning was in the 30s. Now it's 52. Everyone's saying howdy, howdy to everybody.
I bet it's colder than that where Granny D's at. She's
Uh,
probably laughing at you and I, Connie, calling that cold.
but the funny thing is, like, you typically think of like up north being colder because the temperature's lower, but there is a difference in the cold up north than the cold down south.
You are true about that.
Because in the south, it's more of a wet cold,
Right.
which tends to feel colder. Let's see. Yep, this is my neck hugger. She's all a wiggle worm today. I think she's starting to get clingy again. Earlier, she was doing the little making biscuit thing on my scarf, and like she was nursing on it.
Oh.
She was just going to town, and she been purring today. All right. So my
She just
next,
needs her mama.
yeah, but she's a moody little girl. She can be aloof sometimes,
Right.
and then whenever like I call it a clingy phase because it's like she'll want to be with me 24/7. It's like she's all or nothing. She's probably gonna prevent me from getting crochet and knitting done soon. Like she's kind of doing it now.
It was so sweet earlier this morning when I was trying to crochet. Um, I wasn't trying to push Jean's dog because, she doesn't really know us. All of a sudden, Smee just came up and sat right down on my lap, and I couldn't crochet, but that's okay. I was getting some good little puppy loves.
Say hi to everyone, Al. All right, so
Allie.
now she's moving again. Let's see, where did I leave off on my questions? So, what items do you find sells well?
I would say, again, sometimes more the smaller things that are more gifty that anybody can use. So the dish towels and the dishcloths are really good. I will tell you that I had in the beginning made a dishcloth to go with each dish towel, but they weren't selling as great. So I have them separate. So if somebody gets a towel and I still have a dishcloth that matches it, I'll let them know to give them that option. But I've come to learn that keeping them separate. But smaller things. Another thing that I put a few out. I don't know. I've got one right here. Hang on. I made up some of these little small mosaic bags.
Cute.
And these have sold really well. Of course, I made them originally to be like, notions bags, but people like them for makeup. They like them for contacts. They like them for medicine. So, all kinds of things. So things like that are things that anybody can use.
Yeah, that's really cute.
So.
But yeah, I would kind of think the smaller stuff would sell better because like your larger projects, I mean, yeah, it's a lot more work and all that, but they're also more expensive. And especially like with how things are nowadays, people don't typically have that type of money to spend.
And another thing, don't ever have something out that you're not willing to sell. I made that mistake too. I took the panda bear one day thinking I could just show people things I can do. And someone was really upset that they couldn't buy her. And I was just like, oh no, I can't sell her. So, because she was made for somebody and I'm waiting for them to come around and get her. So she may not always be there, but so if you don't want to sell something, don't take it. Don't have it on display. If you want to show something, you can always have a small little photo album that they can flip through of things that you can do that are not on your table. And that's another good option. So.
And like, what do you find are good things to bring along with you when it comes to selling at the farmers market? Like kind of like how we talked about money, having change for the customers.
Right. So money, your business card or a way to get in touch with you. I always make sure I have a snack and a drink, I also make sure that I always have things like, safety pins, tape, little things like that. Cause you just never know. A small sewing kit. Trying to think of some of the other stuff we take. Oh, and another thing I do that has also changed the outcome of my sales. Bags. I buy, and I should have thought about this, Connie, but I have decorative plastic, bags that I got off of Amazon that say thank you. And for me, most of them have butterflies on them because I'm into butterflies and the word joy, but I have a thank you bag. So it doesn't matter what they buy. I have a small bag, I have a medium-sized bag, and I have a large bag. And whatever they buy, I put it in a bag. That way, when they're walking off and people see those cute little decorative bags, they're like, oh, where did you get that from? And they say, oh, that crochet table over there. So even if they're not necessarily was thinking about coming to look at my table, they might come and see what I have in hopes of buying something to get one of those bags. It's crazy, but it works. So it's all about, again, that display. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to spend a little money in order to make some money. But again, and again, having that something like that just it goes to kind of solidify again that you show pride in what you're doing, that it's worthy enough to be put in a bag so it stays clean, from leaving your table to getting to wherever it's going. And if they're giving it to somebody, guess what? It's already in a bag that they can hand it to them in.
And really display can make the biggest difference in what you can charge for an item too.
Right.
Because, like you'll see something and the person, has like how they package it up. It's all fancy.
Right.
And people will pay more for that than if you basically like, okay, here it is.
Now in the shop, if they buy something in the shop, it goes in a bag with one piece of tissue paper because like you just said, it's coming from a shop. So it does come out of there a little bit fancier. Now, I wouldn't necessarily put a piece of tissue paper. Sorry, I got a hair in my eye. At the farmer's market, because then if it blows out or falls out, then it's trash littered and blowing around. But coming out of the store, it's got a little bit of that nice extra touch. Also, something that I did at Christmas time with some of my Christmas cards, I sent out these little packets of air freshener that just smell so great. Well, I went and found some little ones, and I even found some that have joy on it that's not a Christmas theme, that are just little small little sachet bags. And so if somebody buys something at the store that's mine, it also goes in that bag. So not only does it make their item in the bag smell good, but as they're walking, it leaves a fragrance. So again, it's those little extra touches, and you can get those little bags for next to nothing. You know, if you go on Amazon, you can buy them bulk and get them, you know, really cheap, but they just give more of that professional, you know.
Because I had a friend that would sell her jewelry that she made online. And, you know, she would have it like when she took the pictures, she would have it where, sorry, Allie's all over. She would have it where like she displayed it like on a cute like teacup set with saucer, with a saucer. And the way that her pictures looked was, you know, more inviting.
Right.
And I mean, and she got a lot, you know, like what she charged, people paid. Because I think like earrings and a bracelet, she was charging like 20 something dollars. So that's one thing, especially if you sell online, you really kind of want that presentation, like with your pictures that you put up. So do you have any other tips you would like to share, Cynthia?
I had one and it left my mind, and it was actually important, but
don't you hate that when that happens?
Yes. Oh well.
And if anyone has any questions, you know, that y'all want to know, feel free to ask. Like I said, Cynthia does farmers markets basically.
Right.
Where if you have like craft vendors, you know, it'll work a little differently. Like location can be like where your booth is located, and you also kind of need to see about like how much they charge, because your farmers market is free to set up at.
They charge $5 a day.
Because I know like
I always make that $5.
Like my area, they don't charge anything. But I don't find like that many people are real successful with selling, you know, like the craft stuff in my area. Because like you can post it on Facebook in the Facebook groups, and you'll notice they never seem to get anyone like commenting. And next thing you know, you stop seeing them posting stuff.
Right. I know what I was going to say, Connie. So again, when you have your table set up and it's got the different dimensions, you know, like usually if I'm going to have something raised, I have it kind of on the end towards the back of the table, kind of at an angle facing out, and then have more of my smaller, flatter things in the middle. But when you have less, so it's not a crowded table, which again, it doesn't look cluttered, so it's not kind of like a turnoff. You can do other small things. Like I've taken some skinny vases with some fake flowers and put them in there. That's also inviting. And then in the back, like at the back of our tent, you know, I'll have another small little table, and on that I'll have maybe like a bigger flower arrangement with a candle in front of it that has a fragrance, because even outside, that air will just flow that smell, and it's inviting. So again, the more homier and welcoming you can make it, the better. But again, keeping in mind that less is more. So
I just thought about something. Like
what's that?
when you do your makes, do you find like certain colors you use or make sell better?
More on the seasons of the year. Like, oddly enough that you say that, that's funny. The brighter colors and more of the pastel colors, they seem to sell more like January through the summer. But then in the fall, I tend to sell more things that are kind of like taupe or, your browns, your grays, anything with black in it. They tend to sell more like in the fall than anything. And then, of course, if you're going to sell anything Christmassy, um, or even like for a particular holiday, it's always good to start selling it a month to 2 months before that holiday. So, like in August, I will start going ahead and selling things that I have that are like Halloween or, autumn, fall, harvesty. Um, and then usually by the end of September, early October, I'll start bringing out some of my Christmas towels or things like that. Christmas shawls. I've sold a couple tree skirts there, Christmas tree skirts. Um, I have a friend at Crochet Club that just started making crochet Christmas balls, and I have invited her to come share some of my space and sell her Christmas balls. And we talked about not even taking away from my space. We could put a Christmas tree up and maybe put it where the tables go at an L, and at that L have the Christmas tree out front and have her balls actually hanging off the Christmas tree. It doesn't take away from my space, but then I'm able to share it with the same space with her. And so she's excited about that. So she's going to join me probably in August, um, and start selling her Christmas balls. So she's busy making Christmas balls.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know like you know how they say like certain times of the year you shouldn't wear certain colors.
Right.
But I find like down south, we don't really follow that rule. But like you go like up north, like New Jersey, like wintertime, they're mostly wearing black or like navy blue, dark colors.
Right.
Um, but like, here it's like we'll wear pastels. We break all the rules.
But you saying that, that's another thing. If you're going to sell, know what your big teams around you are, the colors. Like right now, here in South Carolina, we've got the Gamecocks, we've got the Tar Heels in North Carolina just across the line. We've got Clemson. Knowing some of those bigger, uh, sports teams and their colors, if you make things in those colors, they are going to sell. If I do garnet and black, or if I do orange and white or orange and purple or light blue and white, those things are going to sell because those sports people are going to be like, oh yeah, I got some Clemson in my kitchen, or I got some Tar Heels in my kitchen. So that's another good thing to know.
Oh, and then like the high school colors too.
Exactly. Not just, yeah.
So, okay, I just want to make sure of something. I noticed it's been a while since any comments have popped up on
I
my
noticed that
screen.
too. They stopped at like 217 or 117 for you, but
So I just want to make sure if that it's really nobody commenting or if there's something like wrong on my side or something.
I was going to say, I noticed mine had stopped too after Granny D had said something about Allie.
See, the last one I have is Wicked Granny.
Oh, yeah. It says, Connie, that's an adorable neck hugger you have.
Yeah.
That's all I see too.
I just want to make sure that, like, there's no other comments that I'm just not getting.
Right.
um,
I'm scared to refresh mine because I'm afraid I'll lose you.
I know that's the thing. I wondered, do I need a refresh? But that will mess up the live. But I know sometimes people are lurking more too. They might be busy doing other things. Um, trying to think of anything else that I think people might have questions on. Um, can you think of anything else that people may want to know or need to know?
The only other thing that I can recommend is plan your, I talked about planning your setup, like how you're going to have your table, but also have your setup of how you're going to transfer things there and then pack it up the same way to take it away. That way, when it comes time to do it again, you don't have to run around and grab everything together. You've already got it set up,
That was something that someone else had said. It was either Joni or Pam, to take that into consideration, make things easy for you to be able to bring back and forth from your vehicle.
And that's the great thing too about having pen and paper is if you get there and you realize, oh, I meant to bring some baby wipes in case, something spilt or, I'm eating and my hands get dirty or something. But make yourself a list, and that way you don't have to try and remember, so that you get to the next one and you're like, oh, I forgot to pack this, or, so.
And another thing too, like especially like craft vendors, it may be quite a distance to your core. So
we
keep
have
that
one of those collapsible wagons.
Anything that can make it easier to haul stuff back and forth.
Right.
And I remember, I don't remember if it was Pam or Joni, but they had given some ideas of how they did things to make things easier.
Right.
Well,
another thing that Todd and I do too, those zipper little bag things that you can buy that kind of slide under the bed?
Yeah.
And they have wheels. Well, we bought some of those from Walmart. So when we're taking things down, we'll put the crochet items in those zipper things, and they do have wheels. Not that we push them on the ground, but that way when they're on the table, we can push them up and down the table as we're packing stuff. But then they're stackable, and then when we bring them back to the house, we just take them out and we put them together. But that way they're protected so that dust is not getting on them, or, we have a dog, so, dog hair is not flying around and landing on it because it's protected, and so that's something else I recommend. Again, on my display, I have rectangular baskets, and I'll set like the dishcloths, folded in those baskets so that they're confined to that basket. They're not just laying all over the table. And then that way, all I have to do is just pick them up out of the basket, put them in that other little zipper thing. And then same thing, when it comes time to set up, I just open that zipper thing and I literally can take them still folded and put them back into the basket. My baskets all stack up when I'm not using them. So it makes great, for storing. So
yeah. I'm gonna check something real quick. So you may hear a noise, but I want to check on YouTube. Oops, sorry. I want to see on YouTube if other people have been commenting, and I think they have been. So I don't know. StreamYard must be messing up. Yeah, I am so sorry to everybody that like I didn't agreed, or if they had a question. The comments were not showing on StreamYard. So I'm gonna go get to where I left off with the comments.
Oh wow, so they are showing, and I don't have my phone here.
Well, I don't think it may not show all the comments because it only let me go back so far.
Oh wow.
But yeah, if you asked a question and I didn't answer it, or we didn't answer it, please put your question in the chat again. Because basically the first comment that pops up in YouTube on my screen right now is Pamela Taylor's, where she says it's pretty cold here in Ohio. It was snowing yesterday, but didn't stick really. It's 38. But yeah, like I don't know. I've been like lately I haven't been able to use my green screen. It keeps saying like my browser isn't supporting it. And whenever I do try to put it up, I have this big green ring around me. So I don't know. I have a feeling StreamYard is making some changes. Okay, Nisi saying little man is like that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what she's referring to. What I was talking about at that point.
Oh, sorry. On my other
Probably,
screen.
probably to do with pets. Wicked Granny says, Allie's precious. I have 10 cats, so someone is always on me. Makes crochet hordes sometimes. And you know what's funny? There's a lot of times I try to get my cats to come to me, and they're like, "Nope, we're doing our own thing." Oh,
So Pamela asked a question. So do you charge like for the time it took you to make something? That's where when I am tripling it, so like say it cost me $6 to make it and I might charge 18 or 20, that's kind of taking my time. That's covering my time. Sadly, I don't think you'll ever get what you deserve for the time invested and it being a homemade crocheted item. But that's where the tripling comes in. So, and like say you make something and it would, if you tripled it, it came out to $23. Go ahead and put 25. You know, it's well worth the 25. So,
and I do know, like, I did see something, I think, in a Facebook group where um somebody would charge by the amount of time it took. But I'm like, they have to be quick crocheters
right. Or
because
knitters.
exactly because at a certain point people won't pay that much. Um like I know if I went by the amount of time, it would be expensive. But I know most of the time I hear more people say 3 times the cost of the yarn.
But it depends too, Connie, because like I'll be honest, when I start making my knitted Christmas stockings, um, especially because they'll be custom ordered, mom, dad, it can be, somebody might want mama and daddy or mommy and daddy's versus mom or dad. And then you have names of your children and they're more custom, you can add on because customizing something is making it general specific to that person. So you're not going to sell it to someone else, So
Yeah, and
you can
and I
always
have heard
add in for things like that.
and I have heard people say the more difficult a pattern is, um, like if I was going to make something where I had to purchase a pattern, I would tack in the cost of the
Exactly.
pattern. Um,
Exactly.
um, or stuff like other things that you have to use, or if you're using better quality yarn, like stuff that makes things more distinctive, you can typically charge more for. Um, but it's also you got to kind of use your judgment because if you go too high, people won't buy it.
Right.
But sometimes you can charge extra. You just got to fill people out, and you
Because
know
like I was saying with the towels earlier, if I'm charging 8, I'd rather sell 3 for 24 than to sell 1 for 16 because 24 is still more than 16, you know. But again, too, I will tell you something else. If I am going somewhere to buy my yarn, usually like Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby, those are not near to me. So when I also include the cost of my yarn, I also will take my mileage and whatever the current mileage cost is, I will figure that out from my mileage and I add that into the cost of the yarn. So then when I'm tripling it, it's going to be a little bit more too because I've included that because that's an expense that you have in obtaining to make that project.
and like I would probably like have kind of like wiggle room too. Have what you would take, the minimum amount you would take for something, and try to charge a little more. And that way, if they start trying to negotiate a price, you can go down some without going down lower than what you want to sell it for.
I will tell you something else I've done. I had a lady one time show up, and it happened to be on the towels, and she wanted the dishcloths to go with it. And so for the set, it would be $13. And so she wanted to buy a bunch for different people. And I think she was wanting a set of 12. And so what I ended up doing is I told her, I said, okay, if you do that, I will deduct some. So what I did is I deducted $1. So in the end, she saved 12, but I still made almost 64 or something dollars. So, I mean, yeah, somebody buys a lot like that. But then you have people, for example, I had a baby blanket set, and it was the baby blanket, and it was a hat and a pair of booties. It had 2 pair of booties with it, actually. So it was 4 pieces. And the guy asked me, and it was a guy, no less, you guys. And he asked me how much I was selling it for. And I said, I'll sell it for 65. I'll catch my friend. She's over there rolling her eyes because she felt like that was too low. Do you know what he said? He's like, well, would you take 100? I thought he was going to go down. He's like, would you take 100? And I was just like, what? He's like, yes, she would. And so I made 100 off of where I was going to only sell it for 65.
Yeah, because sometimes if you lowball things too much, people are willing to pay more, and where you could have made more money, if you wouldn't have said a cheaper amount than what they were going to pay for.
Well, I learned something when I was selling Mary Kay. So if I'm trying to sell you, per se, a skincare set, and of course, in Mary Kay, whatever I pay for it, the customer pays double. And if I say, but if you're willing to get it and try it, I'll sell it to you, at 25% off. And if you're doing that all the time, it's almost as if you're saying, I don't really have confidence in my product. So let me sell it to you cheaper because you're not going to want to pay the full price because it's not worth it. But yet it is, I don't know if you've ever seen Mary Kay people, they look way younger than what they are. The products work, but you got to sell it for what they are because they do work. It's the same thing with your stuff. I mean, if you make something, own it, sell it for what it's worth. Because people are going to say, now I've had people say with my $8 towels, oh, that's just too much, because they're thinking in their mind that they can go to Walmart and buy that towel for $3. But the thing is they're not buying the removable towel topper that they can wash and put another towel in, because that towel topper is going to last longer than the actual towel.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't think that way, And so sometimes you have to just say, well, thank you for looking. Don't be ugly or feel some type of way if somebody doesn't buy something, because I had a woman, she came like 2-3 times by my booth weekend after weekend and would never buy anything. And she'd just look. Well, finally she showed up and she brought a friend and they both bought. So don't get discouraged if somebody comes and doesn't get something. It doesn't mean your stuff isn't worthy. It doesn't mean you didn't do a good job. We don't know their circumstances.
Yeah, sometimes they will come back later on.
That's right. So,
yep. All right. I'm going to try to read through the comments to make sure I didn't miss anything, and then we'll start to wrap up. Lorele saying we are at 27 Fahrenheit now. It's warmed up. We got another foot of new snow that last storm. So much snow in areas, but like here it rarely snows.
Well, you know what, where Jean's up from me about 100, what we figured it out this morning, 126 miles away, it's snowing. She's like, I'm so thankful I came to see you this weekend, Cynthia. So South Carolina's got some snow going on, but that part of South Carolina can keep it.
Let's see. Pam saying she likes the color of your mosaic pouch.
Oh, thank you. Wow, we did miss some comments, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, let's see. And then there may be some that, didn't appear on YouTube because it goes by when you turn it on. Let's see. Nita says they got a dusting last night with snow. She says that was enough for me.
Me too. That would be me too.
Oh, Tiffany's here. Hi, Tiffany. Hopefully those that I haven't greeted yet are still here. Um, but she's saying she likes your pouch.
Thank you.
Oh, JJ's here too. Hi, JJ. Um, oh, Regina's here too. Hey, Regina.
Guys.
I've never seen StreamYard do this to me before.
I've never had it happen either. And I am looking. And what I'm seeing in current time versus what I'm watching on the channel, on your channel, there is a really big delayed reaction. And I keep refreshing.
Because it was
there must be something going on with StreamYard today.
That's what I'm thinking, because I kept wondering why no comments were coming in for that long.
It's me, Connie. I'm ruining your channel today.
No, I'm sure it's a StreamYard glitch. Nisi says our farmers market is $400 for the season, which is 5 months. They charge that much.
What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
and you know what?
Free.
I'm gonna be honest. I have to track the person down to give my $5. Otherwise, sometimes they don't even come and collect it. But I personally couldn't live with myself if I wasn't paying that, But oh my gosh.
Because that is one thing to take into consideration, how much something costs for you to have like a booth area.
Yes. And the drive that you got to take to get to it.
And like the amount of people that vendor attracts too. Because if you don't get many people coming through, you're not going to sell as much.
Now we have some things that happen, like, for example, last year, and I'll do it again this year, for Juneteenth, we have a big, festival and like Oktoberfest. And you do have to pay for a booth. And I think the booth is normally like $25 or $30. But if you are like an artist, doing some kind of art, which crochet is considered an art, they allow on this one street where the art museum is, the person who owns the museum, I think, allows up to 8 or 10 vendors that are artists to set up their tables, and it doesn't cost anything. And so you can guess, yes, I'm one of those 8 to 10 artists that are there. But it draws in people from miles and miles away. Like, we have to have not only our law enforcement, but surrounding law enforcement to come that day to help make sure people can get in and out of our town because of how many people, like cars and people there are. And of course, everything is blocked off, so you have to walk for all of that. But anyway, we did amazing. So catch some of those bigger like events and be a part of them,
Because I do know, like, sometimes if you got a lot of people passing through, yeah, you might be charged more, but you're making more sales.
Exactly.
Let's see. We have Lisa, the Grammy, here. Hi, Lisa. How are you today? Anita's asking, how do you feel about free items with purchase, such as handmade keychains?
I've done stuff like that before. Because there again, you're showing them a little bit more of what you can do. But make sure it's something that's not investing a lot of your time and more of your, your money. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing too, you got to take into consideration too, if you're giving something away for free, you kind of got to figure out how much you're willing to give away for free.
Yeah.
Because it starts to eat into your, what your profit.
Because it kind of goes back to what I was saying about like when I was doing Mary Kay. If you don't have confidence in what you have and you feel like you have to give something free or you've got to mark it down, again, it's almost like saying I'm not confident in what I'm selling,
Mm-hmm.
And so and we are our worst critics.
Or another,
And so I take what my friend says into heart, when she says I'm underselling, because she's right. If somebody truly understands what goes into making a project, they're going to pay what it's worth, But if they don't, understand, they might say, oh, that's just too much. And that's okay, It may not be for everybody.
another idea could be like if you spend over a certain amount, you get like a little free gift.
That's
like
right.
That could be an idea where like if they're only purchasing like $5, you wouldn't really do anything, but say they purchase like over $50.
Right. Well, kind of like I was saying with the towels. Now I've made using that sachet yarn again, trying to use it because we don't really wear those shawls or those scarves anymore. And I have tons of that sachet yarn. I started doing hair scrunchies with that sachet yarn.
Mm-hmm.
And they look really good, especially for like dancers and stuff like that, cheerleaders. But anyway, I was selling those, and if somebody, and I sold them a certain price, I think I was selling them for like $3. And if somebody wanted, like 5 or more, then I might, say, hey, if you buy 4, I'll throw the 5th one in free. Because there again, it's not really like taking a whole lot of money out of my pocket, and if they're willing to take 5, that's 5 heads, or at least, that's going to be out there displaying, and somebody's going to say, oh, where'd you get that? Oh, I got it from the girl down at the farmer's market. Well, guess what? You're going to have a couple more customers come.
With scrunchies, that's something that would be good to do, like school colors.
Yes. And you know what I did? Those jewelry racks that have like a neck and then it's on a stand? I got one of those and I put the scrunchies on there. And again, I only put like 4 or 5 on each arm of that jewelry thing, because if you have so many, then they got to pull all these off to get the one they want. So yeah. Or you can get one of those little towers that that holds necklaces and it turns.
Mm-hmm.
You can put them on there. That's what I actually have my bath poofs on. So not only is it a nice little display and the bath poofs are hanging off of them, but it can turn as well. So
I like what Wicked Granny said. If you can't see us, I guess we can't tell you you're missing us.
oh.
Yeah, and I so apologize. And like I said, welcome everyone that I haven't greeted yet. I'm probably pretty far behind on the chat. Let's see. Oh, we have Sindy that joined us. Hi, Sindy. Let's see.
It's a great name.
Let's see. Wicked Granny saying hi, Bridget. But I don't see a comment from Bridget. But if you're here, Bridget, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I see other people greeting Bridget too.
Bridget doesn't live that far from me, and Jean and I were talking about we need to do a meet up with Bridget one day.
Awesome. I think it's so cool when people meet up. Pam says she's a list master. I start making a list a couple of days before so I can add things to it as I remember them.
Yes, I love lists myself.
Me too, but the funny thing is when you make lists and you still forget something that's on your list. And I just lost my place. The chat jumped on me. Give me just a second to find where I was. Where was I? Okay, I got that one. I totally lost my spot. Okay, I found where I left off. Sorry about that. Um, Kaylina says, open your tent and break it down sometimes at home before you go and try to do it there. Also, make sure you have weights for the tent so it don't go flying. Yeah, you don't want your tent to fly off. um, Now, Lisa's saying, with coping with yarn, when masks were demanded, I used to make ear savers and sold them from Facebook Marketplace. Let's see. Okay, we answered Anita's question. Okay, we answered Pam's question about charging for the time. Lisa says, we are like in Horton, here's a who. We are here, we are here, we are here. But yeah, I was just like, where's the comments? And after so long, I'm like, I guess I need to address it because I was like, there has to be comments that I'm not seeing or something.
Yeah, because it still hasn't moved on StreamYard.
I know. And I've never seen that happen before.
I haven't either.
Let's see.
Oh, I just saw AJ's made a comment. So AJ's here. Hello, AJ.
Hi, AJ. How are you? Okay, Anita's saying, also, what is your response to the person that always comes along and looks at a price and says, I wouldn't give $1 for it?
I just smile and say, be joyful.
Yeah, I'd probably sit there and say something like, like especially if they act like you're charging too much.
Yeah.
Basically say, well, you have basically one of three options.
You know what I hear a lot is they'll turn to a friend or something, or they'll just say to me, yeah, my Aunt Kayla or my Aunt Mary can make that. And I'm just like, oh, well, she's talented then, just kill them with kindness, kill them with kindness. But now I did have a person one time, she had 2 children that had ice cream cones, and they kept wanting to touch my stuff with that ice cream all over their hands. And I finally just kind of said, we just need to look and not touch unless we're buying. And I know that sounds really harsh, but if they get ice cream all over it, then I can't sell it,
But yeah.
Or mom, if they get ice cream on it, you're going to have to buy it.
But really, you basically have one or three choices. Either learn how to do the craft yourself, or, find somebody else that will do it for what you're willing to spend. But good luck with that, especially if you're really wanting it really, really cheap.
Right.
Or pay what the person's asking.
Now, I will tell you, and I know this can't be for everybody, but during the fall, I made a bunch of the pumpkins, that everybody made, and I had them on my table. And at first I had them on there only as decorations. And then someone asked me, oh, are you selling those? And I'm like, yes, I'm selling those. And then another person said, they didn't like the price, and I'm like, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be teaching a class. You're welcome to come to the class. That way they're paying me for the class, but they're making their own. And then they'll learn. That's not quite so easy, but anyway, but then they can make their own. So, because that is one thing my friend at the shop does, is she does let me teach classes.
Because really, that's part of the reason that I learned, because I wanted to be able to make these things.
Right.
But that's basically your options. And typically, when it comes to, even if you know someone that crochets, that doesn't mean that they're going to give it to you cheaper or free, you know.
Right.
And normally, like if you sit there and you're like, make this for me, you know, most people aren't going to just be like, oh, here you go because you asked me and give it to you for free, you know.
Or
Let's
another good thing is if you're learning how to do something and someone says, "Oh, I really like that," you can give them your first one because there's always a flaw somewhere in your first one because it's a trial and error. But
let's see. Bridget saying that she don't back down when people say too expensive. Our work is worth it. Stick to your Yep.
that's what I'm saying. Be proud of what you've made. And you're right. Because the right person will come along and they'll know the value and the worth of it. And it will have paid off to wait.
And that's one thing because I made that mistake with my sister-in-law. She wanted me to make a dog sweater. And I had, told her initially 20 and she talked me down to 15. And, you know, and she's the type of person that will do that. And I'm like, if she ever wants me to make something for her again, what I ask her, that's what she's going to pay or she won't get it.
Right. Well, we've all done this because I try to always put myself in someone else's shoes. Because if they walk by and say, "Oh, well, that's just too much," or "I wouldn't pay $1 for that," or whatever, we've done the same thing. I was in the grocery store the other day. I have to eat eggs every day because of my diabetes, but eggs have gone up. They're crazy expensive. And I'm like, I don't want to pay that. It's not worth that. But yes, for my life, it is. So it's the same thing with our stuff. Someone may not see the value in it because they don't understand the hard work that goes into it, the time that goes into it, the cost of yarn. Some people have no clue what yarn costs.
Exactly.
Rather than thinking and kind of putting our nose up at them and judging them back, you know, just let them move on. It's okay.
And sometimes too, and this is something that comes into play with it too. Sometimes people don't have that type of money. They may
Right,
think it's beautiful, but they know that they could purchase something kind of similar at a store
right.
for much cheaper. So, that's something else too. You
I
know,
know,
it's
I
not
get it.
it's not that you don't like something, it's
Right.
just, you know, okay, well, I can go buy a blanket in the store for a lot cheaper. I mean, it may not be crochet or knit, but
Well, I mean, it's
oh,
like me. I mean, I have Hobie taste for yarn, but I only have a Michael's budget, or a Walmart budget. So I get it. And you're right, Connie. And that's why I just try to put myself in that person's shoes.
hmm and like how we were talking about, you were talking about eggs. Poor Frank had to give up his eggs.
Oh,
It was like we were just like, this is ridiculous. What eggs cost nowadays. And I
right.
don't know if y'all seen some of the memes on Facebook where people are talking about like Valentine's Day, you know,
Have
give
you seen
give
the
your
one with the
spouse an
egg in
egg,
the ring box?
or for Easter egg hunts using
Yeah.
potatoes and painting potatoes instead of eggs.
Well, God's been good to me. I found somebody that has chickens and they sell their eggs and they're selling them a lot less than what they are in the store. So
And really,
thank
that's the
goodness.
route to go now because
Yeah,
you probably can get eggs cheaper from people that have their own chickens.
right.
All right, let's see. Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's where a lot of people may not necessarily understand with crochet or knitting because, people aren't as aware of just how much time it takes, especially if you're not a crochet or a knitter.
Right.
And it's not like they're intentionally, you know, undervaluing what you made. They just don't really realize.
Which is why sometimes if Todd is with me, I'll have him kind of standing and manning the table. and I'll crochet in the back, I say the background, but like sitting down behind the table. So they're seeing it. They're kind of seeing that it's not something that's like, a production. It's actual, So, yeah.
And AJ saying, I used to go to crafts fairs and window shop and get cards for when I could afford things. And that is something sometimes people are doing. They don't have the money at that time,
Right.
but they hope they see you again and you're still selling that item. Or maybe you'll have something else that they want,
And that's why I think it's nice to have like some kind of, way of them being able to get in touch with you, because maybe that's not a good time, but then they know how to get back. I'll show you something else. Let me grab it.
Lorele, I hope you have a good day. Granted, you're probably long gone. And hello, Cecilia. How are you today? Let's see.
I talked about how I have my gift bags that I put the stuff in when they purchase, regardless of what they get.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if they bought one hair scrunchie, they still have a decorative bag. It's just a smaller one. But I always put one of these cards in there, and I have 2 sets. Now, this one says, thank you for your purchase. The other one I have under Joyful Creations, it says, I hope you enjoy your gift. So there's a difference, if they bought it or if it was a gift that I gave them. But then I have care instructions on there. Sorry, I'm trying to get in the camera. Care instructions on how to wash and dry it and etc. And then I have enjoy on the back. And then these are blank. So that's why they're here, because they're not with the farmer's market stuff. But on the back, I have a stamp, like a ink stamp that I bought, and it has my information, and I just stamp it. Actually, I got that stamp right here.
Those are really nice.
It has my information, and it says Cynthia's Joyful Creations. Be joyful. Check me out on YouTube, and then it has my email address. Because with all the scam calls right now, it's hard. So I don't put my phone number on there anymore. I put my email address. And then I have it stamped on the back of these cards, and it's gone in their gift or what their purchase. And so that's another nice way of displaying it, and then they know how to get in touch with you. So
yeah, and it is always good to have a way for people to get in touch with you,
because like you said, especially like some people who only get paid once a month, then when they get paid, then they can get back to you, but maybe they're just there to get out and enjoy the sunshine,
or maybe they want something custom made.
True that.
Let's see, we have Tyler that joined us too. Hi, Tyler. And just so y'all know, I'm really behind on the chat. Those that I haven't, told hello to, had some technical issues with StreamYard, so I'm not ignoring anybody. Okay, I hope you have a good day, Kaylina. And let's see. Anita says she's not going to tell us what she said to people that said stuff like, wouldn't pay $1 for this.
Kill them with kindness. Kill them with kindness.
Lisa says if they say it isn't worth anything, then I guess she's saying tell them, well, bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
The funny thing is, really, most of the time when people say bless your heart, it's not a compliment.
Nope. That's why I'm just like, well, have a joyful day.
Let's see.
They can move on so someone else can move in. But like we said, we don't know what someone's going through. We don't know their situation. Mm-hmm. So, or their knowledge. That's the thing. A lot of people just don't have the knowledge.
And that's one thing. Like one time I was
that's not their fault.
That I was at a yard sale, and I made the mistake of making the remark they don't have anything. But I didn't mean it as an insult or anything. It was just they didn't have anything that I wanted.
Right.
But to other people, they may have had stuff they wanted. And the guy overheard me and he kind of made a comment, and I was just like, oops. I think he took offense to what I said. And I mean, I didn't mean it that way. Uh,
Todd and I will usually say, well, thank you for letting us stop and look and have a good day. You know, that way we're still acknowledging them.
let's see. We have Barbara here. Hi, Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
And she's in Kentucky.
Y'all, Barbara was my first winner on my first giveaway.
Awesome.
It was
the funny thing is, there's a lot of content creators. I was their first winner on a giveaways. Let's see. But I haven't entered any giveaways in a long time. JJ says, ask for more next time. If they talk you down, then it won't sting as bad. Pamela says, I would say, oh, don't worry about it. I'm not charging you $1.
That's kind of cute, though.
Let's see. Let's see. And you know what? It's like I scroll and then it jumps and I lose my spot. Let's see. Lisa the Grammy says, I bought a box of 60 eggs at Walmart Thursday. It was $19.97. But when you have to have eggs, yeah, like the 5 dozen eggs, that's usually what, me and Frank would get. He loves his eggs. And they were over, they're over $20 now. And it was just, okay, this is just getting too expensive.
Yeah.
Wicked Granny says, I hate chickens, but I'm considering getting some for the eggs. AJ says she needs to find someone with chickens. Let's see.
And that's funny. Of all the different things I've seen at the farmer's market, I've seen everything from vegetables to baked goods, on the food industry type things. I've never seen someone there selling their eggs. And I know they would go,
They would.
We've even had someone there selling goat's milk and stuff, which, oh my gosh, that's really good if you've never had goat's milk. But anyway,
and especially
I've never seen the eggs.
Especially with the current price of eggs.
Right.
Let's see. Barbara says, the thing I don't like about store-bought eggs is you have no idea how old they are, so you don't know when they are bad. Yep. Let's see. Oh, we have, let's see, Binky Bunny's here from London. Howdy,
Hello.
howdy. Oh, Zola says her internet returned. And let's see. Zola's commenting about Allie falling asleep. Yeah, she likes that shoulder.
So, Connie, I have to ask you, does your back hurt from holding her like that all the time?
Sometimes it does.
I imagine, yeah.
It's also like harder, like to maneuver, like especially if I'm pulling stuff up on the computer. And it sometimes will distract me too.
Right.
It's like it's not as easy to focus when I have a cat hanging on me. Oh. But I don't know, if she starts getting all lovey-dovey and clingy, I might be able to do some more shorts of her. Because it's like, she hasn't been, like how she's been recently. It's like I can't film her.
Right.
She'll run off if I try to. All right, where was I?
Shh. My son's friend just
Yeah, I'm trying to get through everything. Because especially if people have questions, I don't want to miss anyone's question. Lisa says I haven't
Hey,
sold.
Trayvon. Love you too.
Love you three.
Love you three, they say.
Lisa the Grammy says I haven't sold anything, but I've made blankets and given away to family, friends, veterans, friends of the kids. I mailed off before Christmas was to someone in deep depression as a warm hug. Oh, that's sweet.
Where's my hug? I am live, but you can still come give me a hug and say hello.
AJ says she eats a lot of eggs now. AJ says my cat does that on my chest.
This is my other son, Trayvon.
Yeah. How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
He's
Love
been
y'all.
friends with, Andrew since second grade?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade. I always say second grade.
Yeah, it was fourth or like third. You always say you're third. How y'all doing? How
they've
you
grown
now?
up together, and they're like 23 and 20.
I'm 20. 23. He's 24.
Well, he'll be 24 in a couple weeks. So 23 and 24.
Yes,
so he's been a part of our family for a while.
Yes, man. This is my second mom and my mother, man. She's always been looking out for me and stuff like that.
Aww.
It's good to see you. You
Nice
never
to
come
y'all
over anymore.
All right. Love y'all and stuff like that. All right.
They grew up and do the working world thing.
Let's see.
At least they have jobs, right?
Yeah. Okay, I think I'm almost caught up. Yep, I am actually caught up. Yay! And like I said, hopefully I didn't miss greeting anybody. StreamYard was being bad. Because on my screen, I mean, the last comment I got is from 117, and it's 228 now.
Yeah, it's like just froze.
And I had to open up YouTube to see the comments. So is there anything else you want to mention, Cynthia, before we wrap everything up?
I don't think so.
Oh, do you have anything going on your channel?
I do. I have a current Bible study that's going on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm on Eastern Standard Time. So at 11 a.m. and we're currently doing Battlefield of the Mind. And then when we finish Battlefield of the Mind, we will be doing the Book of James. And then on Thursday nights, I have a live at 7 p.m. It's called Cup to Hook Conversations. And pretty much it is just where we all come together and hang out and crochet together during that time. It's a very laid back environment. And then on Friday nights, we come together at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's Cup to Hook movie night. And we are currently watching Stranger Things. So this coming Friday, we will be doing season 3, episode 3. And what we do is we watch the episode on our time, and then we come together and have a trivia night. We do have people that come that don't get to watch the show because it's not in their area or on their Netflix, or just had a really busy work week or had a lot of homework with kids or whatever. But they still come and play and guess. And guessing earns you points. Points earn you tickets. And at the end of the series, we'll draw a ticket and somebody will win a giveaway. Or we call it the grand prize because it's more than just one item. But anyway, so we do that on Friday nights. It's a lot of fun. My husband joins us. He keeps the scoreboard. He always brings a sweet treat and encourages everyone to bring a sweet treat as well. But it's just a lot of fun. And if you don't want to play, we do have people that come every Friday night that watches us be silly and goofy and flag our wands around and whatnot. But they bring a project and work on it and just hang out with us. But that's the biggest thing that goes on my channel. I do have these little segments called Wait For It with Cynthia. Like the one that went out yesterday was on stickers. Something really special in that video. I'm just going to leave it at that. You'll have to go check it out to see what it is. But it's just like little segments on what's happening nationally. Like yesterday was National Sticker Day. A couple days ago, it was National Milk Day. And so I just have little excerpts on those special days. Tomorrow is National Strawberry Ice Cream Day and Hat Day. So I'll have one that'll come out. We'll be filming it tonight, but it'll come out tomorrow of us wearing hats and eating strawberry ice cream. So
Cool.
Cute little, just short segments. We are getting ready to start making a Stranger Things blanket that will start around February. And I'm currently also working on the Lullaby Dreams baby blanket that I was showing at the beginning that I've designed, and working on that tutorial now. I'm also joining Jeannie from Butterfly Dreams Crochet and More, and Veronica from Still the Show Crochet and Chef. They are doing some make-alongs. They're doing blankets and cocoons or boho sweaters. I'm just doing the blankets, and one of them is what I'm calling the scrappy calendar blanket. And then I'm doing the All in the Family with them. As Samantha mentioned earlier, I am trying to do the cottage core, which was a blanket that was being done last year with Melissa Crochets in Love, and I forget some of the other channels involved. But due to different things, I never got to work on it. So I will be starting mine in 2023. And then I'm working on an Elvis blanket. So I'm working on a lot of blankets. But
Awesome. If y'all haven't checked out Cynthia, go check her out. Y'all will love her.
Thank you, Connie.
You're welcome. And I'm going to go ahead and play my little closing video. And I'm realizing I keep forgetting to add Ursula to it. But thank you to Ursula. Yeah, I need a program Nightbot to drop her link and add her to the closing video. I did everything else, but for some reason I keep forgetting that. Okay, here it is. And I want to thank everybody for watching today. I enjoyed chatting with all of y'all. And I want to thank you, Cynthia, for coming live with me.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And oh yeah, y'all go alien invade Granny D. And tell her I'm sorry I ran over today. But yeah, I hope y'all all have a fabulous Yarny day. Be the light, and bye.
Bye.